Welcome to Markets Now. I'm Michelle Rook with Tommy Grisafi with Advanced Trading on a mixed day in both grain and livestock futures trade. Okay, Tommy, let's start off talking about soybeans. We had 3 up days. We sat back here today, so we're going into first notice day. Was that part of it, or was it just these rains that fell in parts of the Corn Belt?
A little bit of everything coming off those big pro farmer numbers. The beans are out there. Are we 52 bushels, 53, 54, 55? How's demand on the backside, right? But yes, a nice rain at the end of August. We did have some extreme heat for a couple days. Folks at Farm Progress said it was a hot one out there. But temperatures are cooling off, and I think we're going to have a nice fall, and hopefully we finish up those beans just right. So you get a rain at the end of August, you're going to see a little pressure on the soybeans.
Yeah, do you feel like we have most of the bearish news program into prices though already? Does November beans, do we have to go back to the contract lows? Because we're already seeing a little demand stimulated.
Yeah, demand should be flying in here every day. I'd love to see how shipping looks out of the PNW and the Gulf for lineups here as harvest comes. We got to keep an eye on that Mississippi River level also. Demand would be nice, and this is the time, right? We're going to have, in the next 6 weeks, we're going to have the most soybeans we're going to have for the whole following year. So we'll line them up. They're folks, if you're out there in the world, you're getting a bargain on soybeans too. You can come to America and buy beans cheaper than you can grow them anywhere else in the world.
Do you think exports can get caught up here because new crop exports are almost 50% behind, I think, where we were a year ago?
Yeah, we are behind, and we'll see. We keep seeing sales, but we are starting at the very bottom of the chart. It's not like we had all types of sales all year and we're complementing those. We literally started at zero and working our way back up. We're behind, but sometimes they get caught up. Watch out for China or someone else. We today in prior days we've seen some interesting names come out on those 8 o'clock export numbers. It's nice to ship grain all around the world.
Yeah. We also got some corn export business, but even then, we were not able to see any follow through on the key reversal yesterday. Why? In corn.
Why? I don't know because I'm long corn myself. I felt like with wheat rallying, I wanted to be long corn. And what I noticed watching the markets was wheat was closing on the high and corn had dipped down to the low. Corn recovered a little bit at the end of the day, closed right and halfway in the range. It's just slow. And we're getting all excited because corn hit a 4 cent range. We were up a penny, we were down 3, we closed down 2. It's just slow all the way around the board. And it's that holiday week where people are going back to school, getting the kids to school, going to college, and getting ready for that last big holiday weekend. Overall, I think traders have already left for the week, Michelle.
We are going into first notice day, though, as well here at the end of the week. What's your sense, Tommy, of old crop supplies? Has a lot of what's going to move now or been priced here or not?
Yeah, I think what you're referring to is grain that's about ready to have a birthday. Are we going to put a birthday cap on some corn and beans? And people are. You're going to hear that people stored corn, beans, wheat for a whole nother year. Maybe they catch that rally, but some poor planning, some poor decisions you made a year ago are very much affecting how you're dealing with a bushel today. I will say this, the price of grain has went down way more than even some of the most bearish folks have called for, and that caught the farmer off guard. If you have a bullish newsletter, if you're always bullish, farmers like that, they'll sign up for you. But when corn breaks a few dollars, they have nothing sold. And then that's when we look bad as an industry. Folks like us, if we don't tell you the truth that we have too much, and then when we tell farmers like you and I talking today, hey, we have too much, they say, I don't like listening to them because we're having bearish sentiment. The best thing about the bearish news is low prices cure low prices. Let's see if that demand kicks in.
Yeah. And again, Pro Farmer gave us a little bit lower yield and production than what we saw to USDA, but there's still going to be a record yield, it looks like. So is that programmed into this corn market yet or not?
Well, that balance sheet on the corn market's getting a little tighter. There was a
Okay.
point we thought we might have 3 billion bushel corn carry out with, if we had all the acres planted and all the yield. That number's getting smaller. Although having a 2 billion bushel carry out's a lot, a couple problems in the world, and that could tighten up quickly. Unfortunately, we won't know till that happens. So if you're betting on someone else in the world to have a production problem, my question or challenge to you all listening would be, what if we didn't have a production problem? What if South America and the rest of the world puts a couple more big crops up? And so if we rotate around the world, we have a big crop, they have a big crop, we have a big crop, we're going to have too many bushels for multi years.
So what do you think? There's certainly a lot of talk about maybe we're getting close to a bottom in corn and soybean markets. Maybe we'll put in an early harvest low here. What's your thoughts about that?
I hope that happened this week. I hope that we look back and say, wow, remember that really bearish pro farmer number? And we rocketed out of there. My common sense says we could rally here the next few weeks and then we hit harvest pressure. The harvest pressure may come, Michelle, from the basis. So we may stay at 975 beans. And instead of being 50 under at harvest, we're 75 under. So is the harvest pressure, selling pressure going to come in the basis or the actual futures? Keep an eye on spreads. Spreads have a wonderful way of telling you what the future looks like.
No doubt. Wheat market, we were able to build on the key reversals from Tuesday, and we're getting into end of the month. So do you think some of that is some short covering activity that we're seeing here the last couple of days, or is there more to it?
I like it, but we have some big problems with spring wheat up in North Dakota, some falling numbers, quality issues. A lot of that wheat's never going to make it to the market as wheat. It's going to go as feed wheat. So keep an eye on that. All eyes on demand. We'd like to sell someone in the world some wheat. It's definitely affordable. The price of wheat is on sale. And maybe people are finally waking up and saying, you know what? We had a 4 at one point this week, Michelle. We had a 4 in front month Board of Trade wheat. That makes me sick to even say that.
Gotcha. And of course, like I said, we've got the funds short in all of the grains, probably record short for this time of year. Other than maybe end of the month profit taking and prettying up your books, is there anything else that you think can get these funds to start covering in earnest?
Well, there is absolutely. It's what we don't know. I mean, we think we have an election in 60 some days. There just could be so many things that happen in the world. We could have a big spike in crude oil that could scare people. We can go the opposite way. A month ago, when the stock market went down, grains actually rallied. So when people wanted liquidity, when we had that VIX spike, the funds actually covered their good winning positions. And so they were really short grains. They panicked for a few days, started to cover it. Things can happen. We love when the funds are long, and the farmer is always discouraged when they still can't believe that someone who doesn't even farm could sell the grain before him and make a profit. It's very aggravating. But on the other side, farmers love when the funds are record long, and that gives you that $7-8 corn price.
Yeah. And funds, speaking of them, they are still long in the cattle market. We've had a pretty good correction here again, and actually had a little chart breakout in live cattle yesterday. Couldn't follow through today. So why?
Well, it's quiet. Remember, I said all those traders are on vacation. There's not a whole lot of people left. We're seeing different prices in the cattle market. We've come off heck of a bottom off these lows, but there's just no one left to trade them. If you look at a longer daily chart, we're kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere's land. We've spent a lot of time at these levels. What everyone's looking for is, are we going to go $6-8 higher in cattle, or are we going to have another one of those quick pullbacks, $6-8 lower? That is the question.
Yeah, the volatility obviously has been part of a market that gets historically up to these levels, but we're going to get into the tightest numbers coming up here at the end of the year. We've got futures at a discount to the cash. Are those things alone enough to keep this market supported going forward?
Well, there are people who just absolutely love to buy cattle on dips. I'll still say, for the cattle producer, they still need to be a seller and protector. And we've spent so much time now at these higher levels that the numbers don't, they're starting to look very challenging. These sell-offs in cattle are very painful. So would I like to see the market rally? That would be awesome. But I'm smart enough to know we could sell off again. Another quick hit down. Seen a lot of people look in this LRP insurance, using that with futures and options. That's been something that's been working for folks.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Thanks so much, Tommy Grisafi, Advanced Trading. That is Markets Now.